unassociated remote hosting service. Some of your personal information, such as your name, your image, and shared messages will be recorded. Your remote attendance hereby discharges Toastmasters International and Leadership Speak and or any of its members from all claims, demands, rights, promises, damages, and liabilities arising out of or in connection with the use or distribution of said video recordings, including but not limited to any claims for invasion of privacy, appropriation of likeness, or defamation. Madam Zoom Master, please start the recording. Welcome to Leadership Speak, an advanced Toastmasters Club for leadership development. We are one of the top 5 clubs globally. I am your Sergeant at Arms for today's meeting. And we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Leadership Speak is the premier club for experienced Toastmasters to become better self-directed leaders. We are an advanced club focused primarily on leadership development in everything we do. Our timer has a virtual hand raised so we can immediately see who is keeping the time. Our Toastmaster of the day is our president, who will be leading today's meeting. He is Holmes. And Holmes is the club president of Leadership Speak and works as a project manager in Singapore. Please help me welcome our Toastmaster of the day, Holmes Teng. Over to you, Holmes.
Thank you, our meeting SAA, Hannah, for opening up the meeting. Members and guests, at Leadership Speak, each and every meeting, we talk about something central to leadership. And this week especially, we are focusing on something that brings us back to the humanity of leadership. Leading when life tests you. Members, as well as guests who have been with us in the recent weeks, may be aware that this particular meeting was actually assigned to another member as Toastmaster of the day, the meeting manager. And in life, one of the things that eventually happens to every person happened to her. She passed on. Last week, we spent a minute of silence mourning for her, remembering her and her excellent contribution to the club. And this week, we go deeper into this topic of what happens in life. While we are still living, it can happen to us. It can happen to the people around us that we need to lead, to inspire, to encourage. It can range from illness of oneself to others, family members and friends who we may lose contact with, or various circumstances that prevent us from functioning in the same ways that we are used to. In each of these situations, when we are in it, we need to find our ways creatively to improve on. And one of the key reasons we want to talk about this and spend time on this is that on one hand, we need to be prepared for it. On the other hand, while we're in it, we need strategies of how we can really continue on or have plans prepared so that our organization, our teams can indeed go on. Before we go deeper into this topic, I'd like to spend a short moment to speak to the most important people in this meeting group. Our guest. Guest, welcome to Leadership Speak, whether you're here for the first time or you've been here for many, many weeks. On behalf of Leadership Speak, we are very happy to have you here. In a short moment, the guest book will be posted in the chat. Yes, it's there. Thank you. I encourage all guests to sign the guest book. Let us have your feedback. Toward the end of the meeting, I, as president, will call upon some of you to hear your comments. We love your feedback. It helps us. It keeps us going. Thank you so much, our guest. At the start of the meeting, I'd like to introduce a few of our role takers before we continue to our speakers. First up, we have our timer who already has her hand raised. Our timer is Jyoti Thomas. She is a social entrepreneur, a project curator, and an executor. She says, life has tested her like a long tennis match. She almost lost her sight, but she found a deeper vision to rise, to serve, and to fearlessly lead, to fearlessly lead in the midst of all that by being more authentic and connecting with more people. I'd like to hand over to the stage to Jyoti Thomas, our timer, for her to introduce her role. Jyoti. Over to you.
That off. Just a minute. Can you hear me?
Yes, Jyoti, loud and clear.
Thank you. Good day, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. I'm your timer for today's meeting. I will time each speaker according to the agenda and signal using the virtual background: green, yellow, red. After each segment, I will post the timing, the results onto our chat box. Thank you. Over to the Toastmaster.
Thank you, Jyoti. The next role taker I'd like to call on is our grammarian. Our grammarian today is Fabian Joseph. Fabian is an accomplished Toastmaster with over 4 years of experience. He's currently serving as the president of Legendary Toastmasters Club, and he believes if life doesn't challenge you, it won't change you. And this conviction fuels his relentless pursuit of excellence in communication and in leadership skills. Fabian, let us know, what is the role of the grammarian? Over to you.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Today, my role will be to be the grammarian of this meeting this morning. And as the grammarian, it is my duty, just a minute, as a grammarian, it is my responsibility to pay close attention to all speakers. And I will also listen carefully to their language use. I will take any note of any improper language, as well as the outstanding words, quotes, saying, and thought throughout this meeting. It is also my duty to introduce the word for this meeting. Ladies and gentlemen, just a minute. Great. The word for today's meeting is steadfast. And if you're wondering the meaning of steadfast, it is firm, loyal, and unwavering, especially in the face of difficulty or pressure. If you are thinking, how can steadfast be used in a sentence? Here is how it can be used. A steadfast leader doesn't deny the storm. They choose to stand and lead throughout it. When life tested him, his steadfast commitment to his values guided every decision. When called upon, I will give my report at the end of this meeting. Back to you, President Holmes.
Thank you, Vivian. Our next role taker, who will now start to bring us deeper again into the team, is our toast. Our toast today is Kanav Hurria. He described himself as someone who studied law and psychology, hence a psycho lawyer. Kanav, let us have your toast.
Thank you, Toastmaster Holmes. It is my pleasure to talk about today's theme, which is leading when life tests you. Leadership is not tested on calm days, which is often missed. It is tested when everything hurts and when your ground shakes. You make a plan, you can organize stuff, but life is unpredictable. In one thing, it will be gone. There are three core values that we can work upon to learn this aspect. First is stay grounded. Stay grounded to who you are. Tell that you even come despite whatever you're facing. Keep working on what you aim for. Second is stay to the moment and not run. You can step forward to the calamity that has occurred, but stay there. Stay. You can even go back, but stay. Because it will lead you towards your goal. Your goal is the most important thing. So you have to stay, either go run or go back, but stay. That's your decision. The third is culmination of three things: unity, hope, and clarity. To build unity, you have to stay in the present. If I stay here, I create people around me. That creates a unity. Clarity is when you know what you have to do. Simplify it. I want to do this, then I will collect After that, I do the second thing. Not doing the same things at the same time. Have clarity what you want to do. Third is keep hoping that everything will go right. Otherwise, the hope is all we need in our lives. Well, if we work on all three of these things, which is unity, clarity, and hope, staying grounded and stay where you are instead of running away, you will always become a great leader because all of the people are waiting for you to lead. So, ladies and gentlemen, I request everyone to unmute yourself, open your cameras, and raise your toast. Here is to leading when life tests us.
Leading.
Leading when life
Leading when the life tests us.
Leading when life is
Testers.
Thank you, everyone. Back to our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Holmes.
Thank you, Kanav. Members and guests, we are about to move into our educational keynote. And here I'd like to take a moment again to speak to our most important people in the meeting room, our guest. Dear guest, as you join us today to converse about leading when life tests you, I also encourage you to think about some of the moments where either you or the people around you face life struggles. How do you manage? How did your leaders around you manage? What are some of your better examples? What are some of the examples we can all learn from and avoid? And as you have these ideas in mind, when you hear something from the educational speaker or any other speakers, feel free to share some of your thoughts and some of your examples in the Zoom chat, or if you have time, even stay back after the meeting where we can converse deeper. And for guests, especially if you are here for the first time, in a short while, the guest book will be posted in the meeting chat. I encourage you, do sign up the guest book so that we know you're here, we can connect with you, and we can later on also have a conversation. With that, our educational keynote today will be delivered by Elena. And her keynote will be evaluated by her evaluator, Angela Brown. Can I invite both to be spotlighted? And my apologies, the evaluator is Sandra Vox. Can I invite Sandra to introduce the project that Elena is delivering?
Thank you so much. The project today is to do the long speech, which is always a challenge, 18 to 22 minutes. And it's wonderful that the last few weeks we've had leadership speakers, of course, and that really is a challenge to not become an icebreaker. So what we were working on, because Elena and I met, was to make sure that we're engaging with leadership and still not being an icebreaker. So through a very challenging topic, I would invite those giving feedback. Besides, everyone should give feedback. When you're doing feedback, look for, did it become an icebreaker? Did it show us leadership through our healing journey? That's what we're going to be watching for. Over to you, Holmes.
Thank you so much, Sandra. Our educational speaker today is Elena Constantinou. Elena is an educator and a corporate trainer. She is interested in researching how corporations and individuals prepare for and respond in cases of adversity. Having been through a lot of business adversity in the US, the UK, and Cyprus, she has developed a model of risk mitigation that she will be sharing with us in the educational keynote. Elena Constantinou, leading while healing. Leading while healing, Elena Constantinou. Over to you, our educational speaker.
I love flying. I love airplanes, and I love every minute of the experience, except one. One particular moment frightens me every single time. During the safety briefing, when the flight attendant advises to secure your oxygen mask first before helping others, I get the same nightmarish visual. Me trying to help my 3 children before securing my own mask first, failing and causing everybody to get hurt. I know myself. I know that in this situation, I would make the same mistake over and over again. I know the right move, and yet I keep making the same wrong decision. And I made the same wrong decision again a few months ago. This is not a speech about steadfast resilience in the face of adversity. It is not a speech about bravely leading while going through hardship. It is a true story of vulnerability, fear, and my journey with cancer. Now, the journey began last July, when my ophthalmologist announced to me that of all the cancers I could have, this is probably one of the best ones. I generally love his sense of humor, but I'm not sure about his bedside manners on this one. I had a rather rare, it's called primary ocular non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, which in simple terms means eye cancer potentially threatening the brainstem. But at this stage, thankfully, it was a very treatable cancer. It was the first time I had heard of eye cancer. You know, under the microscope, these cells, these cancer cells, looked like beautiful white snowballs. They're innocent, romantic, and playful. I had heard before that cancer cells look beautiful because they're bigger and fatter, and they claim more energy and resources from our body. And now they were mine alone. My body had developed them. So the first thing I did was to reject the notion of being sick. Illness is something you get from outside, from a virus or a bacterial infection, from the air, some food, from your kid's kindergarten, or a bat from Wuhan in China. This cancer was all mine. My body had developed it, and as such, I refused to call it an illness, which I would have to fight. I preferred to view it as a state of health, which I would have to evolve through. Another quote I decided to live by was, "This was not happening to me, it was happening for me," specifically for a better me. How were we going to handle this very treatable cancer? With an aggressive 4-month protocol consisting of a total of 30 overnight stays in the clinic for chemo, immunosuppressant therapy, biweekly chemo injections straight into my eyes. in other numbers, this was about $80,000 in medical insurance claims, about 200 liters of fluids pumped in and out of my body, and about 1,000 hours away from my children and home. But I had a lifeline, it was a very treatable cancer. And I would get my life back with a little patience and luck and a lot of science and faith. And not only did I have Peter, my world-class ophthalmologist, but I also had a wonder woman of an oncologist, Holy Mary, as I call her. She's over 6 foot. She's a badass doctor. And she, in a matter of days, started me on an aggressive protocol to save my eyesight and my life. So kudos to science. And so I crossed the threshold from the ordinary world into the unknown world of chemotherapy, immunotherapy, and eye injections. The world of hospital stays, helpful, wonderful nurses, and this constant test, and cancer patients, young and old, all of us wishing for one thing only, just more time with less inconvenience. Going into this path, for me, it was clear there was only one way to do it. I would continue working as a corporate trainer, being president of my Toastmaster club. I would continue my PhD research and the mandatory online courses, and I would continue being a member of Leadership Speak. So I would just plow through it. At this point, I would ask our esteemed Sergeant at Arms to please launch the first poll. This is an attempt to reflect on when we're physically ill or emotionally drained or about to undergo a challenge. Which of these do you tend to do most often? 1, push through and keep performing even when you know you shouldn't. Do you say yes to everything and deal with the consequences later? Do you hide your struggles so others don't worry or judge you? Do you ask for help, but only as a last resort? And do you prioritize yourself first? You rest, you delegate, you set boundaries. Then you also vote. You see, I wanted to continue being active and productive and engaged with my life and my friends, and I wanted to be normal. And I truly was inspired by stories of friends who did chemo in the morning and then directed plays at night. There were stories of famous individuals working full time during their health treatments. So I convinced myself that I was strong and I could do it. Can we see the results of the poll, please? Let's see. So there's no correct or wrong answer. It's what, but I see a lot of people with awareness of what we do in these situations. Thank you for your honest opinions. Thank you. We can take a screenshot and remove it. Yes. So chemo treatments at first had very little adverse effects on me, and other than extreme fatigue, I was good. Or I thought I was. The doctor insisted I would have reduced cognitive and physical abilities, and I should say no to all professional engagements. But I chose to believe my partner's claim that you're so effective, Elena, that even 70% of yours is good enough. So I didn't share with anyone what the doctor anticipated. I didn't ask for help. I didn't admit I would get weak and vulnerable. And had so much positivity that I was actually looking forward to this journey. But I didn't perform. My 70% was not satisfactory for me. I was not happy. I did not feel successful. I overloaded my partners who had to cover for me. I asked for too many extensions of my professors and probably inconvenienced them. I made the Nicosia Toastmaster Committee wait for me to make decisions. They made repeated reminders. But there were days when I just felt I just needed to retreat, to just rest, to just sleep. One of my fellow Toastmasters even said, I should have insisted that you step down. When a Toastmaster faces such a huge challenge, we must insist that they take the time off. And that was a huge wake-up call for me. Looking at this from my team's perspective was an eye-opener. Being exhausted and with this chemo fog in my head, I was too busy looking at things from my own perspective and forgot to view things from my team's perspective. Going back to the oxygen mask metaphor, I did not secure mine first, and I let everyone else suffer. Even worse, since I was the plane pilot and I was feeling unwell, instead of giving complete control to the co-pilot and the crew, I put everyone at risk. In leadership studies, the oxygen mask metaphor underpins some very important theories, particularly those that have to do with how leaders can suffer compassion fatigue or cognitive depletion. In simple terms, a leader needs oxygen to handle conflict, think strategically, and stay calm under pressure. Without it, the brain moves into this fight, flight, freeze. You don't want to go into the freeze, and the leader reacts, rather than responds. We can lose our empathy. We can make poor choices. Can we truly support others when our own compassion tank is empty? When we drain our mental oxygen by saying yes to everything, is there any cognitive ability left for innovation? So this is when I went back to my business training and my MBA and some of the research I've been doing on risk management and risk mitigation. And I realized that I needed a leadership framework to anticipate risk, to secondly, manage this risk when it arises, and thirdly, give the leader the much needed space to protect themselves. And eventually I came up with Anchor, a management protocol that can help you prepare for adversity and allow a leader to step down at any point in time without the guilt. Very important, without the effort, and still have a team and a business anchored and performing well. The anchor exercise can be done by teams frequently so that it can be prepared in case the leader needs to step down. So if, God forbid, something happened, the team is ready for it. And the cool thing is doing risk mitigation exercises can also improve productivity and performance in the moment and can prevent certain risks from even looming in the background or even popping their head up in the first place. Now, we'll circulate a handout with a framework at the end of my speech, but I will present it to you briefly here. It's meant to be viewed from the teams and the business's point of view, not just the leaders. So we start with A, and that's alignment, aligning our direction. The team should have some non-negotiable priorities and some success criteria. And when those are known, even in time of turmoil, the team will have a compass to guide them by. Secondly, the N, nominating and empowering the right interim leader or leader or leaders. And following our pilot metaphor, if we have a co-pilot nominated and he can within seconds take control with full responsibility, And this authority must be publicly communicated and also tested with different tasks and at different levels of emergency. The Cs create systems that enhance steadfast team decision making, especially under duress and stress. It exists anyway in a company, but it's better to prepare for them as well. H is handing over information transparently and in identifying the important stakeholders, that ensuring in times of adversity there are clear paths of communication between the stakeholders and the team. So the team's looking outwards. Organizing support structures, that we all know the value of coaching, mentoring, and expert supervision. So let's reach out to their supporters, check in with them, involve them in the team's risk mitigation plans. So again, they're ready when the need arises. And finally, reinforcing culture and values so that we can seal the possibility of transition with confidence and clarity. Anchor. Let's continue thinking that we're flying a plane and people's lives are in our hands. So let's not react, let's be able to respond, be able to be there. Now, I know it might seem like a difficult, even depressing process, but you can do it with humor and lightness. And at the end, you can experience this incredible sense of lightness. At this point, I would like to invite to the spotlight Jyoti Thomas, a fellow Leadership Speak member who has had a chance to reflect on the Anchor framework and can offer us her own reflections. Now, Jyoti has experienced her own health challenge, and she has steadfastly worked through it and has resonated with some of the Anchor, some parts of the Anchor protocol. Can we have Jyoti spotlighted, please? Jyoti, would you like to elaborate? Thank you.
Thank you, Elena. Yeah, when I went through the Anchor, what came to me first was the N and the H. I feel there are no guarantees in life. And when did I realize that? Was when I lost my husband when he was all of 46 and he didn't want to go. Soon I went through an issue where I thought I was losing my eyesight. And it comes to you at a moment when you least expect it, and all that you have is me, I, myself. I was losing my eyesight. I was told one surgery, I'll start seeing everything upside down, which means it'll result in suicide. Imagine seeing the world upside down. It's not easy. You have to get a hold of yourself. But what I think really helped me go through that was being prepared. I was always prepared because my dad taught me to be. We're always prepared, but never ready. Never ready. So all that I did was, my only child, what will she do? I quickly got people whom I knew. I said, what was where? I took videos of everything. I thought, if I don't see, what will happen? That was very important. I made sure I put everything in a legal document to create a document which said who will be there, create the transparency so there's one person in control. In times of emotion, we can say get into motion, but life doesn't do it that way. Easier said than done. Now, as you're saying all this, it comes back to me and it's a wake-up call. Leadership is also personal life. Thank you for sharing and take care.
Let me recover from that, Jyoti. Thank you so much. Bless you. I think it reinforces the fact that when things like this hit us, we need to really step back and take care of ourselves. This has been a very difficult speech for me to write because apart from the chemo brain, I was facing this internal battle of speaking about letting go. But I realized it's not about me feeling useful, content, or active. It's about getting the job done and the team feeling secure, and also allowing others to hold us too. At this point, I would like our Sergeant at Arms to launch the second poll. It's just another reflection point. Having reached the end of almost the end of my speech, I would like to see to have us reflect on, okay, having this oxygen mask, securing your oxygen mask first as a leader. Do you set clear boundaries? Do you start saying no more often? Will you maybe ask for help earlier instead of waiting until the crisis? Will you delegate and trust your team more? Or you prioritize your physical or mental health without the guilt? And this is an important part. We might be able to do it, but we also have to work on not having the guilt. Thank you. We can end the poll. Maybe I haven't submitted. Yes, I will submit. My journey is not over, and I still have time to help my partners, my team members, and help them anchor. And I owe this to myself and to them. We can see the poll results and see where we are right now. Excellent. Excellent. I truly, I invite you to take a screenshot of this and stick with it for maybe 7 days. Remind yourself and try to pass on the message to others as well. As I end this reflection, I want to end it with this image behind me. I want to be in a tree. I want to be a tree in a forest in the spring. I want to start acting like, you know, with the raindrops in my face and the beautiful smells and the beautiful sounds in a forest, and be brave enough to let go of my leaves so that I can have new ones grow and engulf me. Toastmaster Holmes, back to you.
Thank you, Elena. Thank you for leading us through the conversation of leading while healing. Members and guests, I would like to take a moment more for the message to sink in deeper in us. I trust most of you all, if not all of you all, have your pens or your notebooks or some kind of note-taking device around you. I would encourage you, strongly encourage you, just take a moment. Look at the second poll again. Which did you select? Even if you didn't answer the poll, mentally you can answer the poll now. Which one did you select? And write down 1 or 2 specific things that you can set clearer boundaries to, 1 or 2 specific things that you can ask for help. Write down 1 or 2 specific things that you can delegate, or 1 or 2 specific actions you can do that will allow you to prioritize your mental or physical health without guilt. take a moment to write that one or two based on what you answered, and also reflect for it for a very short moment. Members and guests, thank you for following me with this along to write down those notes and those specific actions. May this keynote truly benefit you with a key takeaway that you can implement so that as you take care of yourself, you are also taking care of the team or community that you are leading, knowing that taking care of yourself is part of your leadership responsibility. It is part of your leadership responsibility. Thank you so much, Elena, Constantinou, for this educational workshop. Can we have a round of applause for her? I'm sure it wasn't easy for her to go through this process, coming from her recovery to delivering this keynote.
And I want to thank you, Holmes, for the support, as well as Sandra and Jyoti. Your support has been amazing, and your guidance. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'd like to take a moment to speak to the guests. Some of you have just joined. Thank you so much for being at Leadership Speak. As president, I warmly welcome you. In today's session, we are reflecting perhaps one of the most avoided but important topics of leadership: ourselves as human beings. Guests, especially if you're here for the first time, a guest book will be posted shortly in the meeting chat. And as you're reflecting with us, I encourage you to do two things. Number one, do fill up the guest book to let us know that you're here, to let us know a little bit more about you as we later connect toward the end of the meeting, or perhaps even after this meeting for a conversation. And secondly, the second thing I encourage guests to do, along with members, we have just finished our keynote. As we are going to the next 5 speeches, the next 5 speeches in some ways are also related to leading when life tests you. Keep your notes on hand, keep your reflective hats on, and let those speakers in your speeches inspire you how you can be a good leader when life is testing you. Our first speaker after the educational keynote is Paramjit Singh. And I would like to invite his evaluator, Elena, to introduce Paramjit's project. Elena, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, TOMD. Today, Paramjit Singh will present the project about evaluation and feedback second speech. And the purpose of this project is to practice applying feedback and serve as a speech evaluator during a club meeting. And the speech length lasts by 5 to 7 minutes. Back to you, TOMD.
Our first speaker, Paramjit, is a design and development manager. With 5 years as a Toastmasters, he is here with a clear goal, working towards becoming a motivational speaker. Paramjit Singh, the passenger who saved the bus. The passenger who saved the bus. Paramjit Singh, over to you.
How many of you have the privilege to have a colleague who is always finding your mistakes rather than doing his own work. And my boss was the biggest sufferer. So in context, I asked him one day, sir, you are so forgiving to all those people who spend half their day finding your mistakes and half the day reporting it to your seniors like breaking news. You should hit them minimum twice the hard they are doing to you. And if you and me, I would have set them right in a way, even the HR would ask me, what is happening over here? He said to me, Paramjit, my explanations will not work. So I will share a story with you. It was a dark, stormy night. The storm was at its full anger. Thunder was at full anger. And the rain was pouring like the way that somebody has forget to switch off the shower. A bus full of drenched passengers, miserable conditions, going in the snowy hill down the hill. And everybody was thinking that why they have come today out of their home. They should have stayed at home. And then the lightning struck the roof. Boom! Again, boom! Boom! It was so deafening. The sparks flew. The bus shuddered. And then the lightning struck again. Boom! Now the driver, he put on the brakes and stopped the bus immediately and turned around and said to everyone, gentlemen, I think there is someone has to die today. But because of one person, we will all die. Lightning is looking for someone. Let us do one exercise. Every one of us go one by one about 100 yards. And if he's saved, he's saved. At least who is going to die, he will die. Rest all of us will get saved. Proving that in this panic, even the smarter people can give you the dumbest idea. And they both all agreed. So they started going one by one. The first person, he went 100 yards. Nothing happened, survived. Then the second person went there. He came back, survived. And then the third one, he came back safely. Now they were cheering up. They were like doing high five even. Oh my, wow. At least they are not eliminated. So now the last man, there was one man left. He was hiding behind the chairs. And he was asked to go. He said, no, I'm not going. Because he was knowing he's the last one. But then somebody said, no, he is the culprit. We must put him out. And they put him off the bus. He moved slowly, praying to God, reached 100 yards, and then the lightning struck. But not to him on the bus. And there remained only that passenger and bus, metal, burning metal all around. So, Paramjit, life is also like that stormy night. We blame the people who annoy us. We find people very much annoying who gives us our mistakes. We think they are problems. Okay, let us give the example of Yogaraj, our purchase manager. He's always looking for mistakes I make. He's kept me always on toes. And he questions my every action like he's my senior. But here is a twist. Like the man in that storm, he actually saved me from biggest disasters. His interferences actually have helped me to overcome so much of problems, which may or not be able to admit even. So we all have such people in life, and we think they are slowing down ourselves. But in actually, they are preparing us for the storms we have not seen. This can be a very strict teacher, a strict parent, or even a colleague who finds your mistakes. But they are actually not your interferences. They are your lightning rods. So find out these lightning rods and say your gratitude, convey their gratitude, be thankful to them that they have saved you a lot of times. Even a smile will help them. And you also try to become such lights who are helping others, but not by finding the mistakes in them, but giving them a feedback like a Toastmaster, which helps them to grow and overcome their challenges in life. Because they all need you. Because storm is going to come. The lightnings are going to strike. But you're not required to have a superpowers to save them. Just some empathy and some courage to give them shelters. And then you decide that whether you want to make them go to the rain or become a shelter of them. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Paramjit. Our second speaker is Irfan Farooqui. And I'd like to invite his evaluator, Rana, to introduce the project that Irfan will be doing today. Renan, over to you.
Hi everyone. Hi, Irfan. Irfan will deliver a speech under Visionary Communication Pathway, Level 1, speech project number 5, Evaluation and Feedback. It is the second speech in 5 to 7 minutes. The purpose of the project is to present the same speech that incorporates some or all of the feedback received from the presentation of the first speech. Good luck, Irfan, and back to you, Toastmaster of today.
Irfan describes himself as a storyteller who loves to talk about the philosophy of life. Irfan Farooqui, the cloud and the sun. The cloud and the sun. Irfan Farooqui, over to you.
Hello, Toastmasters and guests. Have you ever experienced a room full of happy people, full of energy and sunshine, laughter and enjoyment? One negative person enters the room and somehow pull the curtains all the way down. Isn't it like you are taking a sunbath in winter and clouds cover the sun? Let me tell you one story. Once upon a time, in a small village called Happy Town, lived a community famous for one thing. They were always smiling. The baker sang while kneading the dough. The shopkeepers told jokes with every sale. Even these stray cats used to catwalk in the streets. But in this village lived one man who was, let's say, a professional dark cloud. His name was Sorrowbound. When others would say, "What a beautiful morning," Sorrowbound would look at the sky and say, looks like rain. And rain brings mosquitoes. And mosquitoes bring dengue and malaria. He was efficiently negative. One day, the village elders decided to hold a great festival. Music, colors, decorations, food. Everyone was excited, except, of course, Mr. Sorrowbound. When people started making plans, he said, "Music, people will go deaf. Food, someone may get food poisoning. Colors, no, not our culture. And it stains our clothes. Crowds, what if someone steals your slippers?" His negativity was so steadfast that even the village cow walked away from him. Slowly, his negativity started spreading. The tailor said, "Maybe he's right. What if the stage collapses?" The carpenter said, what if the lights don't work? And the drummer, he said, what if someone laughs at our performance? People began to doubt their own happiness. A village that was once glowed began to flicker. One person's negative mindset had infected the entire community. And then there came a sad decision. A day before the event, in the villagers' meeting, the elders cancelled the entire event. Silence fell. So sad. But then, from the back of the room, a child named Meena stood up. She said, "Uncle Sorrowbound is afraid of everything, but why are you afraid of him?" He addressed the whole audience. The whole crowd surprised, and they looked at her. She continued and said, "A cloud can hide the sun, but it cannot stop the sun from shining." Her words hit the village like a lightning bolt. They realized they had allowed one man to shape the mood of the whole community. With this realization, they said, we will have our festival. Sorrowbound may join, or he may continue practicing his professional sadness. The village erupted in laughter. People started building the stage, hung decorations, and festival began. And that festival was the biggest celebration in the year. And Sorrowbound, well, he came too, and as expected, complained about the loud music. But at least he was standing in the crowd, and the whole crowd, whole village was dancing around him. Fellow Toastmasters, here is what this simple story reveals about human nature, psychology, and leadership. Number one, negativity is contagious because human brain is wired that way. Neuroscientists call it negative bias. We react faster to threats than to opportunities. Number two, a negative person gains power only when we keep silent. Number three, it takes only one courageous voice to reset the group's mindset. Ladies and gentlemen, so here is the truth. We cannot remove all toxic people from the world, but we can stop allowing their mindset to shape our world. Don't let the sorrow bounds lead your life. Be a leader of your own life. Be a self directed person. So, whenever you face a sorrow bound, remember as a sun, your task is not to fight the clouds, your task is to keep shining. Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, Irfan. Our third speaker is Ghada Almojarkish. And I'd like to invite her evaluator, Owen Monday, to share with us the project that Ghada will be doing today.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, and good morning, fellow Toastmasters. Ghada this morning will be doing a speech in her, give me 1 second, visionary. Excuse me, I got a little cold this morning. Persuasive speaking. And one of the things she said was, I want to explore one simple but powerful idea, why the easiest way is often the most dangerous way, and often choosing different can reshape our lives. Her speech this morning will be the easiest way. Mr. Toastmaster, back over to you.
Thank you so much, Owen. When I asked Ghada how she liked to be introduced, she says she wants to explore one simple but powerful idea, why the easiest way is often the most dangerous way, and how choosing differently can reshape our lives. Ghada Almojarkish, the easy way. The easy way, Ghada Almojarkish. Over to you.
Thank you, Holmes. I'm good alone. I already know how to survive. I've been doing it my whole life. For years, that was my reality. Every time life pushed me beyond what I thought I could handle, I chose what felt like the easiest way. I stepped back stayed silent, and convinced myself that walking alone made me strong. But the truth I finally learned is this: the easiest way is almost never the healing way, and rarely the way that helps us grow. We humans are creatures of habit. We repeat what once protected us, even if no longer serves us. For me, silence and distance were familiar. Knowing the exit from every situation made me feel safe. So, when life got difficult, I did what I had always done. I retreated, avoided, and convinced myself I didn't need anyone. But the more I isolated myself, the heavier everything became. Psychology explains this through a concept called cognitive ease. Like our mind automatically prefers options that feel familiar, predictable, and low effort, even when they limit us. So choosing silence, avoiding conflict, pretending we are fine, all of these feel easy not because they are right, but because they are familiar. What changed everything for me was realizing that even though the brain prefers the easiest path, we grow only when we choose the meaningful one. And research also shows that humans cope better, think more clearly, regulate emotions more effectively in community. And this is called collective efficacy. So the shared belief that together we can handle more than any one of us can handle alone. This isn't motivation. It is neuroscience. Connection literally changes how the brain responds to stress. Isolation increases pressure. Connection distributes it. So I wasn't strong, but overwhelmed when I walked alone. The most painful realization was the easy way often creates harder consequences later. Like avoiding a difficult conversation feels easy today, but living with the distance it creates is heavy. Staying silent is easy, but carrying emotions alone is exhausting. Stepping back feels easy, but losing connection, opportunity, and growth is painful. What feels hard now make tomorrow better. Showing up, speaking honestly, staying present, trying again, these aren't easy choices, but they are the choices that heal us, strengthen us, and move our life forward. And that brings me to the heart of this message. The easiest way is tempting. It feels safe. It feels familiar and quiet, but it keeps us small. Life will push you. It pushes all of us. And when that moment comes, remember this: the easiest way is rarely the right way, and it's never the way that transforms you. Here, especially as a leader, You have to be steadfast enough to take one step forward, even when stepping back feels easier. Because the life you want, the peace you want, the strength you want, none of it's found in the easiest way. It's found in the brave way. Thank you. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Ghada. Our next speaker is Aries Cassinela. And I'd like to invite Robin Stone, his evaluator, to share with us what the project that Aries is doing today.
Sure. Aries will be speaking from Presentation Mastery, and this is a level 1 speech. But of course, it's level 1 at Leadership Speak, is also an advanced project, and the focus is vocal variety and body language. He's also given me a number of areas to look at, which I'll incorporate in my evaluation. Thank you very much, Holmes. Back to you.
When asked how he would prefer to be introduced, Aries said, moving from Angola's warm street to the UK's cold mornings was more than a weather's change. It was a culture shock. So tonight, he'll be sharing the challenges, surprises, and lessons from his journey. Aries Cassinela, from warm streets to cold mornings, my journey through culture shock. From warm streets to cold mornings, my journey through culture shock. Aries Cassinela, over to you.
Have you ever wanted to test the limits of your human body? And forget the marathons, the triathlons, but just arrive in the UK in January if you are from a tropical country. So back in 2004, I visited the UK for my first time. I was very confident. I was excited. I was curious. And people, I remember they told me, Irish, UK is pretty cold. Make sure you take a jacket. I said, really? Jacket? Come on. In Angola, we use jackets to look stylish. I'll be okay. So there I was with my confidence. So at the moment I stepped off that plane in Newcastle, the cold hit me. The cold hit me like it was an unpaid bill. And all my African pride left my body. My concept of cold was already defined. When they told me it is cold, I couldn't imagine what cold was. It's like telling to someone who has always been a blind person to try to explain to him what the color blue means. You cannot get it. He cannot get it. So I couldn't get what cold really meant. It was like no longer temperature. It was like an spiritual experience. My second challenge, day one, I went to the college. And that was my second surprise, the Geordie accent. the Geordie accent. Back home, English is English. That's the English from books. But in Newcastle, the Geordie accent, English was no longer English. Every single sentence is to me looked like a puzzle, a riddle. Then came the cultural etiquette, or perhaps confusion. In Angola, we say sir or teacher as a sign of respect. So there was in the classroom, I put my hands up and I said, teacher, can I ask a question? All the class went silent and the teacher looked like I was proposing marriage. Teacher, just call me Tom. So again, I was surprised because in my country, in my culture, to call your teacher by the first name, it was like an act of war. An act of war. This was an old man with a PhD degree, and there was a teenager. It really would be an act of war back home. Anyway, I quickly learned that, and I was calling every single teacher by their first name. I was kind of enjoying it. Even the cleaning lady, right? An old cleaning lady. Good morning, Linda. Oh, she loved it. She loved it. Then the culinary adventures. So my second day was served breakfast. So the famous English breakfast. So I saw on the plate eggs, bacon, sausages, and beans. So I was curious. I tested the beans. Wow, I got a shock. It was sweet. So I was there staring at the plate for about 3-5 minutes, trying to decide if that was dessert, breakfast. Because in Angola, beans come with respect. It's serious food. It does not come with sugar. Anyway, that was another shock to me. I quickly readapt that breakfast, and again, I was enjoying it. So the real transformation through this cultural shock was that I did learn to adapt, and the culture shock actually was not an obstacle, but an opportunity for me to learn, to adapt, to expand myself as a human body, as a human mind, as a human person, as a person. And today, being a traveler between the two cultures, it helped me to grow through this change. So, fellow Toastmasters and esteemed guests, culture shock is actually the universe saying to you, congratulations, you are being upgraded. So next time you arrive in a different country with a different culture, your call for action is to embrace it. And embrace it with the curiosity, with humility, and with some humor. Thank you very much. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Aries. Our fifth speaker is Deepti Tak. Our fifth speaker is Deepti Tak. And I'd like to invite her evaluator, Rozy Rana, to share with us what is the project that Deepti will be doing.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters, Deepti is working on the Effective Coaching Path, Level 1. The project that she is working on is for her to pick any speech receive feedback, which she will later apply in another speech. Deepti particularly wants me to look out for her pacing. She says she's often been told she's too fast and then goes too slow and doesn't have like a moderate pace. I will be watching out for that to help her. Thank you very much. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Rozy. Deepti is a CELTA certified educator, and she's now aspiring to be a public speaking coach. Deepti Tak, the glue of memory. The glue of memory, Deepti Tak. Over to you.
Am I audible, visible?
Yes, loud and clear, visible.
Parents often ask me, why are the students in your class always laughing? Learning has to be serious, isn't it? I sometimes feel that your students are just enjoying instead of studying. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, very, very good day to all of you. My answer to that is very simple. Seriousness doesn't guarantee learning. Engagement does. And engagement thrives when children are happy. And this not only works with children, this works with us too. Now let me just take you back in your childhood. Think about the songs we loved as kids. Did you ever sit down, wrote, and make an effort to memorize them? Of course not. Yet even today, after years of not hearing them, you can still recall every word, isn't it? That is the power of joy. It imprints on our memory. Now compare the same thing with studying and memorizing during exams. The one which we intentionally try to memorize under stress, do we truly remember them? Today, if we just think that what were the questions or what were the topics we studied, maybe during our college or school life, do we remember? No. That's because stress forces us to memorize for short term, only for that moment. And maybe we wrote it in our exams and we did well, but joy allows us to retain for a lifetime. Now let me tell you about my student Arav. Arav was used to rote learning. He was struggling with vocabulary and that too with the word enormous. Somehow could not remember. He used to read about enormous, but could not remember later what it meant. So what we did was, we tried to understand, and then to remove his frustration, we turned this into games, guessing, and laughing at our mistakes. Because laughing is happiness, which is the glue of memory. So he was struggling with word enormous. We wrote the word enormous and then linked it to a giant elephant. The picture was very funny. Elephant was too giant. It was like magnifying maybe n to the power of 100 times. Then we contrasted it with a tiny ant. Very tiny. So the word enormous got imprinted in his memory. He laughed at the image and then remembered it. He even remembered it throughout. A week later, in a casual conversation with his parents, he said, that the building is enormous. Okay, he hadn't memorized the word, but he had owned it. So the parents, who were very, very concerned about laughter during studying, they realized that the joy they feared was actually helping him retain knowledge. Tony Buzan said that memory and creativity are essential to education. But if you teach or train your memory in a wrong way, it is total waste of time. It inhibits learning. This is true for young students and professionals alike. We work better when we are stress-free, we are relaxed. And every learner learns best when you chill. Relaxed mind is open to ideas and connects them freely. Whereas stress narrows focus and happiness is the glue of memory. So, my dear Toastmasters and guests, I encourage you to find happiness and if your children are laughing more, if your students are laughing more, it doesn't mean that they are going in the opposite direction of learning. They are actually learning better. Laughter is not opposite of good work. It is not a distraction. It is accelerating you towards making the work easy and stress-free. Over to you.
Thank you, Deepti. Members and guests, we have now listened to the educational speaker as well as 5 prepared speaker. Before we go into the evaluation section, I'd like to invite you to take a look at some of your notes that you have taken. What are some of the things that are your key takeaway? If you have taken a lot, I'd encourage you, highlight 1 or 2 that becomes your key takeaway for the 6 speeches that you have listened to. I also like to take a moment to speak to the most important people in the meeting, the guest. Guest, as President of Leadership Speak, I welcome you to Leadership Speak. Whether you're here for the first time or a repeated speaker, always welcome guests to come and join us and participate with us in our conversation of leadership, in our conversation to become a better self-directed leader. In a short moment, the guest book, the link to the guest book, thank you, Irene, the link to the guest book has been posted in the Zoom chat. I encourage you, guests, please sign the guest book. Let us know more about you and also share with us your feedback. Toward the end of the meeting, I also have a short moment to get some comments from some of you, and we can also continue after the chapter meeting has officially ended. Thank you so much for being here. Let us move into the evaluations segment. This section will be led by our general evaluator, Cusin. When asked, how can we know more about Marie? Marie tells me, adversity reveals genius, prosperity conceals it. A quote from a Latin poet of antiquity, Jose. Over to you, Marie.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster of the Day and our President, too, for the introduction. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, fellow Toastmaster and guests. I am the General Evaluator today, and I will oversee the evaluation segment of our meeting. I will be calling on a team of seasoned Toastmasters to evaluate our speakers. I will be calling on the role players for their reports. And finally, I will share my overall assessment of the meeting. Toast, Anna Schmidt, our multi-talented member, will evaluate the toast delivered by Hurria. Anna stated, and I quote, "Leading when life tests you, overcoming your trials and tribulation without letting them define you." Over to you, Hannah.
Madam General Evaluator, Toastmasters and our person raising the toast, Kanav. Life is unpredictable and you have to make a plan. Thank you, Kanav, for addressing such a sensitive topic with your toast. Well done. My takeaway. Your message was aligned beautifully with the theme, leading when life tests you. You reminded me that real leadership isn't shown in easy moments, but in how I or we rise when life pushes us. Your message kept me grounded and motivated to keep going, reminding me that hope is all we need to persevere when life tests you at some time. True leadership is demonstrated not during the easy moments, but in how we recover when life presents challenges. Kanav, I have a few challenges for you, a few suggestions that could enhance your Zoom presence even more. I noticed that your eye contact drifted slowly, occasionally to your left, which made it harder to feel fully connected with you, because eyes convey and reinforce the message even more. Maybe a bit more light onto your face also, that one can really see your eye contact. A bit more vocal variety, along with some intentional pauses, would add emotional depth, and pairing that with clear and purposeful hand gestures could make your message even stronger and engaging. Kanav, thank you again for that lovely toast you had. And when life shakes you or me, when life tests us, we rise and learn from it all the time. Let us stay grounded, and we shall rise to the next level. Kanav, congratulations. And I really look forward to your next speech, which will be maybe 5 to 7 minutes, listening to it all. Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Hannah, for this very impactful evaluation. This evaluation was professional coach level by asking a question rather than giving a solution. Example, how would you feel if you make more pause and have a look about the audience? This question plants a seed that will germinate long after the meeting. So after that, the Toastmaster of the day will be evaluated by Angela Brown. Angela's precise words about the theme, true leadership isn't proven on the easiest days. It's proven when life pushes you, stretches you, and asks you to rise. We lead best when we stay calm, committed, and compassionate, even during the hard moment. Over to you, Angela.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. Especially good morning to you, Holmes. You, during the preparation stage, because your job didn't just begin at the meeting. Your job began before the meeting. And 10 days before the meeting, you created the WhatsApp group. After the untimely passing of our Nicole Douglas Miller, you quickly pivoted and stepped in as the Toastmaster of the day with grace and calm leadership. Others might have been very anxious about stepping in at the last minute, but you were very cool and showed great leadership. You were consistent in staying connected with the role players, making sure that everyone who needed to be trained got trained, and the evaluators filled out their evaluation and as well as the speakers. You were very diligent in making sure that happened. You made sure that on Easy Speak that everybody had accepted their roles, and therefore everyone knew exactly what they needed to do. This making sure everyone knew what to do was reflected in your dedication to being the TMOD, as well as, you are the president, so you have to set a good example, and you definitely did that. You maintained transitions between speakers, keeping the meetings flowing smoothly. You had good eye contact, and you looked very comfortable with the audience. You were authentic. You were authentic and present, which helped the audience feel comfortable and engaged. You encouraged the audience to applaud the education speaker, acknowledging her bravery and sharing her personal story. That was thoughtful and showed emotional intelligence. Your ability to keep the agenda, to keep the energy high, demonstrated excellent Toastmaster day skills. Opportunity for growth. I found that after the education speaker, you asked us to reflect on the polls and what change fits for us. But you didn't mention what had changed for you to the poll. How did the poll before and after? Was there a change for you? And you could have explained that to us. This would strengthen your anchor point and helped the audience reflect and more deeply. Overall, you did a great job. Holmes, you stepped into the difficult moment and led with professionalism, empathy, and confidence. Your preparation and authenticity set the tone for a supportive, meaningful meeting. Excellent work. Well done. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Angela. Yes, this evaluation was very about measure impact. The evaluation quantified the effect before the meeting, the preparation, and the supportive help that Holmes, how Holmes help us, and the consequence of the meeting. So this measurement transforms vague observation into a concrete improvement tool. Thank you very much, Angela. You don't hear me?
Yes,
Ah,
we
okay.
hear you.
Thank you. So we now go with the leadership educational speaker. Sandra Walk, our polymath member, will evaluate the leadership education speaker, Elena Constantinou. Sandra expressed it in this term about the theme of the meeting. Leadership during personal loss is almost instinctively carried forward, one filtering step at a time, doing what's in front of us to do. It has been embedded. Over to you, Sandra.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Marie. I have the honor of evaluating Elena today. I want to say that she's steadfast in addressing a very emotional topic while leading, while healing. Making sure it wasn't an icebreaker and tying it into leadership. Elena, you had a powerful opening. I love flying, except for one thing, to help my 3 children before looking after myself. That was powerful. And I want to say that your Zoom presence in your rotating backgrounds were really beautiful. The mask, when you were speaking about putting your mask on first, and then that blue eye, it was amazing. The blue eye draws us in because eyes are our entry to the soul. And this was very much soul work that we had to do. I liked that you laughed. I know when we talked about it, we can get into a doom attitude when we have heavy topics. But really, it's very important to be able to bring some humor in because we need to lighten the heavy load, not only for ourselves, but for our audience. And you laughed when you were told that, or at least I laughed. That was the best cancer you could have. I was smiling. And then those beautiful cells that came along, that also made me smile. And they were mine, all mine, nobody else's, mine alone. This cancer was all mine, nobody's taken it. I'm not going to fight it, I'm going to work with it. That was the message. And it was so important. Life wasn't happening to you, but for you. And you can see the growth that this experience is bringing to you. Now, you were able to get grounded as well by having a factual list of the protocols. You had to do this, you had to do this, you had to do this, you had to do this. That kept you grounded. And Holy Mary, she was over 6 feet tall. And you'd crossed the threshold. You had such beautiful language throughout and that humor. That's what saved it in the balancing between introducing an icebreaker. Because for the first while, I thought, if you didn't have all the connection, it would be an icebreaker. You had a really good poll that came up, and it stayed up long enough for me to actually read through them, make a choice, and have some thought. And you talked us through it, so you didn't leave us just dry space that so often happens when people use a poll. They kind of have this dead space. You didn't. You talked us through it. You did have a challenge having to crouch in and see the results. So you saw it, you crouched in, you saw it, but you didn't do anything with it. It was like, dismissed. I didn't post it. So that was a concern for me. Your energy and flow of delivery was congruent. It saved you. And I would suggest, and here I'm getting to the time, some rhetorical questions for us to move into. And your call to action at the end, the tree. Why not invite us each to choose our favorite tree and put that action into going through what we need to change and accept and flow like our tree. Beautiful presentation. Thank you. Back to you, Marie.
Yes, thank you very much, Sandra. This evaluation used the amplified mirror technique. Reflect what the speaker did, then show it it multiplied power. Example, you said like that you lowered your voice on the word. This micro gesture help us toward the screen. That's pure vocal magnetism, Sandra. Our first speaker, Paramjit Singh, will be evaluated by Holmes. I will read you the evaluation directly as it was formulated by Halin about the time. I believe this meeting's theme speaks to my own journey of becoming a stronger, more confident leader through communication. Over to you, Halin.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests. First of all, Paramjit, congratulations on an excellent and memorable speech. The main takeaway from your presentations was the strong message you delivered right from the beginning. You opened with questions that immediately engaged the audience and set a compelling tone for the rest of your speech. Your structure was excellent. Your vocal variety was very well used. And I noticed that your speech lasts 7 minutes 43 seconds. So it is important to reduce a little bit. So your speech lasts between 5 to 7 minutes. And I also noticed an improvement in your eye contact. In past speech, your glasses cause reflections that make it harder for the audience to connect with you. But today, your eye contact was better, helping convey emotion effectively, even though I still saw the reflections caused by your glasses. For example, I'm using my glasses right now, and when I move a different angle, so it's difficult for to connect with my eyes due to my glasses. And one area to continue improving is your facial expressions. There were moments when your expressions remained neutral, even when you were delivering emotional content, especially positive emotion. So adding more expressive reactions will strengthen your connections with the audience and elevate your message even further. In summary, this was a well-structured, impactful speech with just a bit more emphasis on facial expressions, and maybe you can try to present your speech without glasses next time. Excellent job, and I look forward to your next speech. Back to you, Madam TOMD. Yeah, I can't hear you.
Thank you very much, Helen. This evaluation used the actional gift technique, offering a concrete tool to the speaker that can apply in the very next speech about the structure, about the emotional behavior, and about the way he can improve his speech. Thank you very much, Elena. So our second speaker, Irfan Farooqui, will be evaluated by Rana and Sila. Here's exactly what Rana indicates about the theme. I am a Toastmaster from the Philippines and 1 year member of Leadership Speak. So personally, I understand that our club challenged Renan. Over to you, Renan.
Thank you, Job Evaluator Marie Cousin. Hi, everyone, especially you, Irfan. This was your second speech, Irfan, in the evaluation and feedback project. And your goal was to apply feedback from your first speech while delivering a motivational message. You started a thought-provoking question. You mentioned, have you ever experienced a room full of happy people, laughter, sunshine, or enjoyment? This was a great way to engage the audience. What good about this speech? You did an excellent job incorporating all the feedbacks from your first speech, which shows your commitment to improvement. That is pretty obvious during your delivery. Your opening question was engaging and set a positive tone. The metaphor of the sun and cloud was a clear and meaningful. And your ending statement, as a sun, your task is not the clouds, but to keep shining, was a powerful and left us inspired. What could make this speech better or move to the next level or make it even stronger? Consider adding a delivery pause after your opening question to let the audience absorb it. Like when you ask, have you ever experienced a room full of happy people? How about laughter, sunshine, enjoyment? If there's a one responded, acknowledge it. So it is a powerful way to engage more your audience. This also notice that every time you transition to the next part, you approach your computer to turn maybe your script. This slightly interrupted the flow or delivery of your speech. Familiarizing yourself with the sequence or using storytelling technique so you know on how to easily memorize and deliver a speech without relying much on the script. And you could deliver it more smoothly without relying on the script. For the best part, start by introducing the sun and the cloud. Cloud metaphor. Sun and cloud metaphor. Right at the beginning to set the tone immediately. Use vivid descriptions and expressive pauses to emphasize key points. For example, when describing the sun breaking through the clouds, pause and let the audience feel that moment of hope. Combine this with varied vocal tones and gestures that you did to reinforce your message and keep the audience captivated throughout. All in all, Irfan, you gave us a motivational and well-structured speech with a strong ending by adding strategic pauses, reducing reliance on your script. You can make your speech even more impactful. I look forward, Irfan, to hearing you shine again in your future speeches. That's all, and back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Renan. So it was a temporal evolution for the member by noting compared to your last speech, you were like that and you did so that this evaluation created a progress trajectory that motivates perseverance. Thank you very much, Elena. Rana, excuse me. So our third speaker, Ghada Almojarkish, will be evaluated by Owen Monday. Owen advised, I quote verbatim, currently as district director, the time leading when live test you is happening now when our district is currently be reorganized and the members look to me to lead during this time. Over to you, Owen.
Thank you, Ms. General Evaluator, and I appreciate it. Good morning again, Toastmasters, guests, and particularly you, Ghada. You were steadfast this morning with the easiest way. I like the way you came out and you talked about what your speech was about. First, presentation mastery is interesting because you have to use a persuasive speech to get our thoughts. That's number one. And the way you did it was you used your hands. People talk when they're talking. I think I heard one of my other evaluators talk about using your hands. One of those things that you do is when you use your gestures, people get with gestures. And with gestures, you pull people in. I like the way that you used your eye contact, because eye contact is extremely important when you're talking to your audience, especially when you're online, because they need to know that you're still talking to them. Some people, unfortunately, don't do that very well, but you did it well this time. I like the way you also you talked about easiest way, but you also brought in bravery in there. Bravery is important when you're talking about having a persuasive speech, because speaking in public is about being brave, because not very many people can do it. You know, they think about it and they're like, oh, I can speak in public. But in fact, when time comes, you're looking around and you're thinking, even when you're online, people are always paying attention now. Don't forget that. What I think one of the things I suggest to you to do is when you're reading, sometimes I could see that you were reading. And that is a good thing, but don't let us see that you're reading, because if we see that you're reading, we know that you're reading your speech. So there's a way, I know the old-fashioned way of putting it to the side and on your computer, look at it and say, oh, I'm not reading it, so we don't know that you're reading. But your speech was very good. It was impactful. I like the way you used your life experience and talking about human life. And because a lot of people don't think about a lot of things that you said, it was impactful. You continue doing what you're doing. And in your next persuasive speech, I can't wait to hear what your next one's going to be. So I appreciate it. You did a great job today, Ghada. Thank you, Ms. General Evaluator. I turn it back over to you.
Thank you very much, Owen. The evaluation transforms an observation into a growth lever using the formula I notice X, which could become Y. Example, instead of saying good at eye contact, you said how it was. Your 3 seconds per person creates intimacy like that. I can't remember how you said that, but imagine that amplifies about the audience. Thank you very much. You are a very enthusiastic evaluator, Owen. Our fourth speaker, Iris Cassinela, will be evaluated by Robin Stone. Allow me to read you faithfully Robin's observation about the theme. Having lived for more than 70 years, I can confirm that life is difficult. The challenges that I have had thrown at me have developed with me resilience as well as a compassion for others. Over to you, Robin.
Thank you very much, Madam General Evaluator. Irish, your speech actually resonated a lot with me. I'm telling you now, I'm a British subject, but I choose to live in Africa for very much the reasons you experience when you try to move to the UK. The weather is terrible. The speech is unintelligible. When I'm there, I have to get my wife to interpret, even when it is native English speakers speaking. Food is awful, and you're treated with total disrespect, all the opposite of what happens in Africa. So thank you. You connected, certainly you connected with me in terms of the culture shock. And that's why I sort of choose not to live there. It's much, much nicer living where I live right now. So good luck to you. Now, you made no secret of the fact that you wanted to focus on storytelling and also have a well-structured speech with good anecdotes, which then connected with the audience. And I think you pretty much achieved that. You in the beginning, you opened with, have you ever been in a situation where the limits of the human body are being tested? I don't really know if it's that bad. I wouldn't have put it like that. Maybe if you were moving to a much colder region, yes, there are colder regions in the world. You might have experienced that. But anyway, that was your introduction, and it certainly grabbed my attention. You gave your good anecdotes about the shock of having been so cold, of having to try and deal with a Geordie accent of all things, the lack of respect you observed, and trying to deal with an English breakfast. All things I can understand. However, the speech did have to be enhanced with body language and vocal variety. And I think this is where you might have been able to do much more. So the way I'm sort of gesturing with my hands now was the limits of your body language. And I think the reason for that is that you were not standing. I think if you had been standing, you could have demonstrated far more readily what it was to feel cold. You know, we didn't have that. You might have even had a go at the Geordie accent so that we could all experience what that is like. It's terrible. But anyway, so I think focus on that when you do this kind of exercise in future. Incorporate body language and also vocal variety into your speech. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Robin. This evaluation emphasizes about the cause and the effect connection. Brilliant to have linked the choice of the word country shock that you repeat more time on to the inclusive atmosphere created in the room. This demonstrated causality goes beyond simple description. Thank you very much, Robin. Our fifth speaker, Deepti Tak, will be evaluated by Rozy Rana. Let me read you directly the evaluator's words. Life is not predictable, but on the plus the tests and unplanned events have grown me mentally and emotionally. Over to you, Rozy.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Today from Deepti, we heard a teacher's plea to parents to understand and to appreciate that we learn most, not only do we learn most, but we retain most knowledge when we are taught in moments of engagement, when we have fun, when we have laughter. As a teacher, Deepti, in fact, what I found outstanding was she displayed herself as a teacher that is so caring, so authentic, so compassionate, steadfast in wanting her students to learn and to retain. We got many takeaways over and above the fact that laughter and engagement helps us retain, how stress keeps it very narrow, how memorization is not the way to go. And Deepti, thank you for how much you care for your students. But what I liked even more was that rather than just give us that theoretical lesson, she backed it with evidence and illustration by telling us to remember a song that, we enjoy, and showed us how, we don't have to stress or overthink, and that song stays with us for the long term. Secondly, the story of Orov. She demonstrated how she does it, through a visual. This boy, Orov, is struggling with learning the word enormous, and Deepti, you made sure he learnt it by showing him a picture that was of a giant elephant vis-a-vis something that was very tiny, and Orav therefore learns this lesson very, very well. Thank you, Deepti. I think you've done all of that beautifully. And if my child was young, I would love for you to be the teacher for my child because you are so caring. In terms of what you could do better and get your speech and engagement even further, because you want your children to be engaged. So how about yourself? First was Zoom presence. I felt you sat more towards my left and your right rather than center. And a bit like the previous evaluator said, standing could have helped. You are a teacher. I'm sure you're used to standing. Stand a bit far. You were too close to the screen and too much on one side. So try and remember that for the second time. But most importantly, you were interested in your pacing. I didn't find it difficult to follow you. You were not too fast, nor were you too slow. However, if you want to have very good pacing that the audience will remember, consider things like, instead of just narrating it and telling us how we will remember a song, ask a question like, think of a song that you've enjoyed. Pause. Then make us understand and appreciate it. Or moving on to the story, pause. So pause between points, and that puts the weight into what you're saying and is likely to have your audience stay with you, not find you fast or slow. All in all, thank you for being such a caring, compassionate teacher, steadfast in your zeal to have them learn. Just incorporate some poses in between your presentation. Thank you so much, and back to you, Madam GE.
Thank you, Rozy. This was an actionable recommendation instead of suggesting improve that. You take example and you take example and you develop it. For example, you say, oh, when you are with the students, you are very compassionate and you should make like that. It was very interesting, the amplifying about the content and the delivery, and you taking lots of recommendation for the delivery about the Zoom presence. So that's an immediately, excuse me, I am struggling with my cat. That's an immediately applicative directive. Thank you very much, Rozy. So now I would like that the timer, may I request the timer to share the times in the chat box, please? On the Zoom master, please launch the poll for the best evaluator.
The timesheet has already been posted, Madam General Evaluator.
You all, okay. So during these two actions, we will hear our grammarian, Fabian Joseph, who has been listening attentively for proper language use as well as area for improvement, including the use of the word of the day, steadfast. How was it well done? How could it be better? Fabian, back to you.
Thank you very much, Marian. Ladies and gentlemen, this meeting was very powerful, I believe, and the word of the day was actually used by three persons during the meeting. That was Rosie, who used the word of the day twice. We had Owen, who also used the word of the day, and then we had Deepti, who also used the word of the day. So let's give them a congratulations for the use of the word. Now, our meeting had a lot of golden nuggets, and some persons may not use the word, but one of the thing about it is that the meaning of the word was used when they were speaking. And I will start with Imfran. He had some beautiful quotes and also sentences where he mentioned a cloud cannot hide the sun, but sorry, I would say your task is not to fight the cloud, but to keep shining. And when we think about steadfast, this is the meaning of steadfast itself. Paramjit, you were great in the use of vivid, imaginative language, where you mentioned the lightning strike the roof, boom, boom. I was able to just imagine that happening, and I want to give you some kudos for that. And Jyoti, when you were called to present, you were very vulnerable with us, and I liked what you said. You said we always prepared, but we are never ready, and I believe most of us can relate to that. Depth, your you mentioned laugh is happiness, which is the glue of memory. And I believe Sandra would relate to that because that is one thing that she loves to advocate, laughter. And when we laughed a lot, we remember a lot. So I really like that also. And Eleni, you said during your presentation, when you spoke about cancer, you talk about beautiful cancer cells. I never heard someone spoke so positively about a cancer cell. When we hear about cancer, most things are about it are very negative about it. And today you were able to make it sound very positive by saying beautiful cancer cell. You also talk about a leader needs oxygen to handle conflict, and what a beautiful way to put that over. Ladies and gentlemen, today we had great use of the English language. And to recommend persons, I would recommend starting with Owen. When you thought you were given that recommendation and you explained about gestures, you mentioned people talk when they are talking. I think you meant to say when people are talking, and then you go on to explain what you are talking about that gesture. Ruben, somehow you had a lot of repetitive words where I think there were three U's in consecutive. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and this brings the end of my presentation. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you very much for this very detailed report. All members have a word of you, and you precise exactly what's happened. Perhaps for better evaluation, be careful with the time, because you were out of the time. You are very good, Fabian. Well done. So now I would like to provide my overall evaluation of the meeting. Their Toastmaster, their guests, on their guests, excuse me. Today, Teams has never been more relevant, leading when life tests you, and life has tested us deeply. What shined today? The preparation of the meeting, behind the scene, and look around you. The preparation of this meeting shows our collective resilience. When fate took away the person who created this theme, our president picked up the torch with remarkable grace. No hesitation, no self-pity, just leadership in action. Behind the scene, I observed extraordinary teamwork. The trainer and role takers coordinate until the very last hour, adjusting, adapting, and helping each other. This tactical flexibility, built on a solid vision and proven strategy, turned potential chaos into cohesion. And look around you. Despite late publicity, our room welcomed many guests. This shows the strength of our reputation and our community. An area for improvement. For the future, let's document these last-minute adjustments. Let's create a formal plan B for emergency situations. A checklist pre-identified backup roles. This way, our natural resilience will be strengthened by processes that support those who must, like today, perform with excellence under pressure. In conclusion, today we didn't simply organize a meeting. We honored a memory through action, proved that leadership is forged in adversity, and demonstrated that our club is more than a group. It's an agile and determined family. Back to you, our Toastmaster of the day, our president.
Thank you so much, Madam General Evaluator. As we go into the last few parts of the meeting and everyone is reflecting on the key learning points, There's another poll that I would like the Zoom master to launch, which is the best effort speaker poll. Zoom master. Thank you. As members and guests, you will maybe choosing your best speaker. I also like to concurrently move on with this meeting by inviting the thought of the day to share with us her reflections from this meeting. Our
Thank
thought
you.
of the day is Nelly Ayudo. Yes, over to you. Go ahead.
When life tests you, it's not trying to break you. It's trying to reveal who you are. Anyone can lead when the path is clear. Real leadership shows up when the ground shakes. In moments of emotion, get in the motion. Pause. Breathe in. Stay calm. Stay centered. When you're calm, you think clearly. Remember, every challenge is testing you for what is coming next. You don't need every answer. You just need enough courage to be steadfast. Hold on to your values, your true north. Lead yourself with honesty. And when you rise, even if it shakes, others will rise with you. Create a system that enhances your steadfastness. When life tests you, stand tall in the storm. Not because it's easy, because you are made for moments like this. When you change your perception, you change your peace. You remain steadfast. Back to you, President Holmes.
Thank you so much, Nelly. Before I close this chapter meeting, I'd like to spend some time to speak with the guest. I'll call through a few quickly if you're available. Let us know. Just unmute yourself. Evelyn Krish, are you available?
Hi, Holmes. I'd like to thank you for inviting me to this meeting. And what I find was fantastic about it was the first speaker. I admired her courage to tell her story and to tell it in a way that got us thinking. I also appreciated your reflection after the talk to bridge us into the future talks that we would have during the presentation today. And lastly, I thought the grammarian that you had did an excellent job of picking out improvements. So thank you.
Thank you, Evelyn. Appreciate your feedback. Josu Velad, are you available? Nabanita Ghosh, are you available to give us some of your feedback? Hello, Nabanita. Share with us some of your thoughts for this meeting. Nabanita, you need to unmute again. Yes, go ahead.
Hi, sorry, I was in a thought that I'm watching and listening the recording. I didn't realize this is live. But anyway, I'm so glad to get a chance to join you guys today. Because of the time difference, I was not being able to join, but I'm so glad today, and it's happy to be here watching and listening to all these wonderful people who are trying to improve their public speaking skill. It is really a great platform, and everybody gets a chance to improve their skills, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to speak for a while. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. Yes, all of our chapter meetings are online, and Namadita, anytime you are available, do join us.
Well, that's wonderful to hear. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, members and guests. Leading when life tests you. Leading when life tests you. As we begin the meeting today, I, along with the toast and the educational speaker, gave everyone a challenge to recognize that we are all humans, that life does test us in a wide variety of manner. And it is part of our role as fellow leaders, fellow self-directed leaders, to acknowledge these challenges, to be prepared for these challenges, whether it happens in our own lives or others. And as we move through this meeting, I hoped many of you, as I did, gain more takeaways of how little things in life, like a different perspective, like humor, like appreciating the people that's around us, the support that we can get, and many more different tips can help us cope with this moment and also help us to support others who is going through life challenges in those moments. And as I continue to encourage everyone to do so and to have practical takeaways from each and every single Leadership Speak meeting, especially this one, I thank all of you for coming here today, staying with us all the way until the end. I'd like to adjourn this chapter meeting. For those who have time, you're welcome to stay back for some discussions and for some more interactions. Zoom Master, as well as Zoom host, kindly stop the live streaming as well as Zoom recording.